Well, San Diego real estate market is definitely shifting, so let's get some buyer and seller tips from Sanam Faramarzi. How you doing?
Hi, I'm so good. How are you?
Great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Thanks for coming in today. So market shifting,
Absolutely.
right? It's changing. It was a super crazy, insane seller's market. And now, what would you say it is now? Do you think it's still a seller's market?
It's really not. I would say now it's about 50-50.
More balance.
More balance, absolutely. And the great thing about this is, in a sense, both buyers and sellers can get their way if you strategize properly. So a seller tip I would, say in this market would be to not aspirationally price your home. If the market says your house is worth, let's say, 500, don't price it at 550, right?
Okay.
Price it at maybe 499 and expect to get some buyers in there and negotiate from there. So it's so important to strategize, market properly, and make sure you work with someone who doesn't use the spray and pray approach where they just put it up and hope somebody bites and puts an offer. So
Let's talk about pricing your home then. So for someone who's entering the market now, if you look like I think I posted this on Facebook the other day, 4 out of the last 5 appraisals I've gotten have come in above.
Yeah.
So comps still showing kind of a higher value than where the market is,
Absolutely.
which is always going to be true. Comps are always trailing, right? That's why appraisals were coming in low when the market was going up, and they come in high when the market is moving lower. So when you're looking at comps, that may not be the right way to look, right? How much weight would you give to comps versus your competition that's on the market? Like the other homes that are listed that you might be competing for buyers with. Do you look more closely at those versus comps in a market like this?
I would say 50-50. I mean, it's really important to see who your competition is and where you're at, but also comps also play a big role as well. But I would take both of those into consideration before submitting an offer and suggesting a purchase price to my buyers.
Yeah, because it's like you would, like if you're a seller who is pricing at comps right now, you're probably pricing too high, right? And that's the last thing you want to do in a market that's balancing.
Absolutely.
Is priced too high. Now, no one wants to see your house. Those people are crazy. They're out of their minds. Whereas if you're like the lowest, let's say 4-bed, 2-bath in Forest Ranch, if you're the lowest price on the market, then every buyer in that market is going to come to your house for sure to check it out, right?
Yep, exactly.
You want to be that listing that gets all that traffic, and that's kind of how you get it, right? I mean, it's a really interesting process to think about because sellers always want to list at the price they want to get. Now, this is where we would like to be.
Right.
We want to get this much, so let's list it for that. But just remember, if you're a seller, you're the first person to the negotiation table, and everyone knows you don't want to go first. I mean, imagine if I was like, "Oh, how much is that watch?" and you go, "How much do you want to give me for it?" I mean,
Right.
no one wants to go first.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
when you're selling your home, you have to.
Right.
So you want to do it strategically. You don't want to do it in a way where somebody, I say, "Oh, I like that watch," and you go, "Oh, 5,000." Yeah, it's whatever. You don't want to do that.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, no, exactly. And that's why it's really important that, us as real estate advisors, we're able to advise our clients on where to go, where to price their home, and to not, hope to get this price, because hoping won't get you too far in the real estate market, especially today's real estate market. So.
Yeah. So it's one of those situations where you need to very strategically price your home if you're a seller. You need to very strategically take pictures. You need to present yourself really well because we actually are in a market now that has stale listings. And this is the first time in several years where we've had a market where there right now on the MLS, there are stale listings.
Absolutely. And this morning I was just looking at the MLS and looking for properties for my buyers, and I saw 37 days, 40 days, and this is something we haven't seen the last 2 years. So it's so foreign to us now. But pre-COVID, houses were still staying on the market for 3 weeks and 4 weeks. But still, it's so important to price it strategically, and that's what a lot of sellers need to kind of be able to be okay with now in this market.
What do you think about range pricing? I know a lot of people giving that advice right now, like, hey, I know you want to get 700. I'm telling you we're probably going to get 650. Can we put it on there in that range? Do you think that's a good strategy in this market?
I'm not too big of a fan of the range, and the reason why is because, for example, if you put, let's say, $599 to $650 if you look on Zillow, it's gonna show the 650 price and not the 599 price. So those individuals that are between the 599 to the 649 range aren't gonna see your listing. Now, if there's a situation where, the seller is super, they really want their range, then that's a different story. But my suggestion would be to always start at, the lowest and work our way up.
Yeah, it's much better to work up than work down.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have stale listings for the first time in a long time. I spoke with an agent yesterday who called me and said, hey, I have 4 listings. Just wanted you to know, just for my own research purposes, I have 4 listings and all of them have been on the market for over 30 days. And so I said, okay, well, what are you doing? What are you doing about it? He's like, well, we're doing scheduled price reductions. So we started at 675, and then 2 weeks later we go to 650, and then 2 weeks later we go to, I can't remember exactly what it was, but something like that. 2 weeks later we go to 625, and keep going down like that. So stair stepping down the price. I just want to get your input on that. Like, is that something? I mean, at some point you have to do a price reduction, right? If you've priced too high,
right.
What's the best way to go about that? Because again, you're the first to the negotiating table. So imagine, we're in this room here and I said, hey, I've got this cool widget. Here it is. Here's how much I want for it. And crickets. That's what's happening. What do you do then to try to not give away too much?
Too much, yeah. And just also seem desperate as the seller too.
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
Absolutely. So my suggestion would be to wait 3 weeks at least. So when you go live, wait 3 weeks. If there's absolutely no bite, then drop it down after the 3rd week. But also be very strategic about it too, and maybe price it right this time, and price it maybe a little bit lower than the market value to attract those buyers, versus go down just a little bit, hoping you'll get something, and then go down just a little bit more. I would just, like I said, start from the absolute bottom and then work your way up, because that's just gonna, bring more buyers to the table. They're more likely to see it on Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, and go from there.
Yeah, and I think it's also a good idea to put it in those, as you mentioned, those specific ranges, every 50,000. If you were wanting to get, 675, you want to at least go down to 649. Like, get under that,
100%,
range, right?
Yes.
Or if you were wanting to get 650, go to 599. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? I mean, if you're worried that no one will make an offer at $599 and you wanted $650, wouldn't you want to know that sooner rather than later? I mean, that's information you'd probably want to know, I would think. And if it really is too low, then the market will tell you. You'll have people beating your door down.
Absolutely.
That's how it works, right? So
absolutely.
I don't think you can underprice the home. I don't think you should go crazy and do the $1 listing thing. Like, I remember when that was happening, it was just so silly. It's like, let's just auction it, I guess.
Oh, God, yeah.
You remember that?
I think I was too young for that. I probably wasn't 18 yet. But
People were listing homes for $1, and it was like, okay, what are we doing here, guys? And I thought at least they were being honest with you, like, hey, we're letting you make your offer. I'm like, I'm cool with that. There was also a time frame where people were listing homes for like 200,000 under. And that I felt was evil, because people would seem like, oh my gosh, this is our chance, honey, to get a house in our price range. It's the perfect one. We've got to get it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is going to go for 200,000 or 300,000 more than that. So that's not right.
oh, man.
But you want to have that happy medium of, like, just as you said, just under market value should drive the activity that gets you what you want, which is someone who is motivated to buy the home, who's ready to step in, hopefully multiple people. You can still get multiple offers in this market.
Yes, you absolutely can. And there are, like I said, so strategy is key. So if you're, strategizing it properly, you're going to get those multiple offers. And we're still seeing it to this day. But also, sorry.
Oh, sweet. This is our first one. This is our first one. I love these so much. It's my happy place right now, because it's human. Listen, we are not perfect, like, news anchors or something like that. We're having a genuine conversation, and in genuine conversation, sometimes you lose your train of thought.
Absolutely.
But you were talking about, when you're a seller, and how you really can't underprice a home, and how it's actually a lot more dangerous, in my opinion, to become a stale listing, because now anyone who's if you're a stale listing, meaning you've been on the market, let's say 60 plus days, okay, it's stale.
Yeah.
And clearly the market is telling you, screaming at you something, and you're not listening. as a seller, right? You're just not listening. Like, I don't want to hear it. This is what I want. Okay, great. But just know that the type of buyer that that you're going to get is going to want a deal anyway. They're going to say, listen, no one wants this property for that much. I'm going to offer you less anyway.
Yep.
So why wouldn't you want to, at least attract people? If you're the type of seller who's like, look, I want to sell it at this, or I don't want to sell, okay, you might not sell.
Yep.
And you're not really in the market.
And motivated to sell either.
Yeah.
Too. So that's also what it is too. Like the motivation has to be there on the seller side. And if both buyers and sellers have the high enough motivation to need to sell, then they'll be able to meet at that happy medium.
That's also another great point about this market that I love is that we finally have like listing agents, buyers agents working together. Like everyone wants to like put it together again, and that makes me happy because it was some animosity. There was a lot of conflict. When buyers were missing out over and over, and agents were getting frustrated, and listing agents were getting very snooty and short with people, and like that wasn't fun in my opinion. Like I didn't have a good time with that. I like it now where everybody's like, hey, your buyers want this home, my sellers want to sell. Let's meet in the middle. Let's make this work. Let's put it together, and that's so much of a happier place for me. Just being on the buy side, and just seeing what's gone on, what's happened, what's taken place. This is a much better place, I think, mentally for everyone to be, even though there is uncertainty in the market, there always will be. But at this particular moment, we have people working together to put deals together. And that makes me happy.
Yes, absolutely. And we're all aligning ourselves to, like, at the end of the day, the buy side, the sell side, lenders, we all have one goal, and that's to, on the buy side, help our buyers get into a property, like, have that home ownership experience. And then on the sales side, they probably need to move out of state, or they need to upsize, downsize. Either way, we're part of such a big impact of people's lives every single day. And so why not align ourselves and, as the professionals, work together to make that happen for individuals. So.
Beautifully said, Sanam. So great to see
Pleasure.
you. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Hey, let's share this with your friends. Let's help make them smarter than everyone else. We'll see you soon.